Hello and welcome to another episode of Session Zero, One-on-One Shots. I'm Lincoln L. Hayes. I have a fantastic guest for this episode. This guest was referred to me from a friend of mine, former roommate, Pungeon Master himself, Alexander Stein. And I was immediately intrigued by this player because she fully embraces character death. She embraces that characters die in Dungeons & Dragons, and it's not a big deal. And that was intriguing to me because all of my players are terrified of dying. So I just had to have a follow-up conversation. Without further ado, welcome back to the show, Aliza Kapel. So great to have you back on the show. And since this is the first day of June, happy Pride.
Yes, happy Pride.
So, first question. When was your first character death, and how did it happen?
Oh, yeah. First character death, this takes me back. So, I came in, I was really excited to play D&D. I'd been wanting to play for a long time. I had just moved to New York, and I was like, this is going to be a great way to, meet people and make friends. And so I made a character very much, within my interests. They were, a ranger. I was all into archery, and all sorts of fun little stuff. I was real excited, came in. Immediately was getting along with my group, and in that very first game, my very first time playing D&D, I slipped and fell down a chasm, didn't die, but I was surrounded by spiders, to which one of my party members thought, aha, I could kill all the spiders with fireball.
No!
So, I fall to quite a long ways with almost no health left, immediately surprised attacked by spiders, and then fireball.
Oh.
I did not survive. That was my first time playing. Our DM at the time just had a little NPC and here you go, just do this one real quick. And I was like, great.
Oh my goodness.
So that was my very first time playing D&D. I slipped, fell down a pit, attacked by flaming spiders.
My God.
And that is my first death.
Are you still friends with this player?
Yes, he is currently my DM.
Okay, good. That is good to hear. I actually, strangely enough, the first character death I had was result of a fireball as well. And,
it's a pretty common way to go, I feel like. It's a wide radius. It doesn't seem like it'd be that much damage, but if you're already in a fight, it can add up. And
unless you're a evocation wizard, you don't have spell sculpting, so that's just going to hit everybody.
Mm-hmm.
The death in my game happened after this wizard, it was a sorcerer actually, was like, I want to throw a fireball into the ceiling to scare them. And I was like, to scare them, huh? And he's like, yeah, I just wanted a warning shot. I was like, all right, well, roll to hit. And he's like, what do you mean? You're throwing a fireball, it's going to hit. It hits. Yeah. It was roll damage. It was a crap ton of damage. And I was like, great, the ceiling collapses and you kill all the kobolds in the room. And he's like, wait, what? It's like, well, what do you think is going to happen? You just threw a bomb into a room with a bunch of people in it. Fireballs, guys. Danger mouse.
Yeah.
All right.
You have to work your way up to that.
Of course.
It's one of those things where you shouldn't... There's a reason why it's a third level spell slot. It's
It's not meant to just be bandied about. It's not a firebolt. It's a fireball. Look out. As I mentioned, most of the players that I know, in my games at least, are terrified of their characters dying. How have you been able to come to terms with it so many times?
It helps that it happened to me right away. So that really set certain expectations and whatnot. I think it also was helpful that I was always really excited about the character creation aspect of things. So I very much always thought it was an opportunity almost. I had so many ideas for characters. So, okay, my character died, and, the next game I came in with, a paladin that I had also thought of and stuff like that, and I was just ready to go. To this day, in my main campaign, I have, although I will, if I die, I'll probably end up revisiting it, but I have, a backup character that I've thought about and was also excited about. And every once in a while, if the game changes drastically enough, I'll revisit that and come up with a new character, and I just see it as this, fun opportunity.
So really, just the not getting overly attached to your first character helps you be okay with, if somebody dies, they die. No big deal.
Yeah, and to see it as an opportunity and not as just as a loss.
Right. Have you ever purposely killed or asked your DM to kill one of your characters?
Yes. So after that first game and first time, that group actually we played a couple more games together, but then we got a Waterdeep campaign going off. My very first character was a very high elf, let's say urban druid, um, uh, which was a lot of fun to play, but it was very much like a one shot type idea rather than a full on campaign. I didn't ask him to die. He just did die from unfortunate circumstances. But I was actually like weirdly glad he died because I was kind of tired of playing him. My next character that I came in with, similar situation. I didn't ask for him to die, but situated like he was a rogue, and I was very much playing him into the stereotypes. So I was being a bit of an asshole, and I just wasn't enjoying that all that much. So once again, I was actually pretty relieved that he passed away. He was actually killed by my next character, who I actually did ask to get killed. So far, those are two more character deaths. None of them I asked for, but I wasn't upset that I lost them.
Right.
But then my third one that came in, I actually did really like. I had a great story, a lot of development, a lot of character development. But I asked him to be killed off because that was when I was exploring my own gender, and I wanted to play a character that's she, her, and I didn't just want to switch the gender randomly. Right. They were like a Goliath, like big tough guy, so like I was always talking in like a really deep voice, and it just really bothered me. So I couldn't just like switch things up. So I asked my DM to kill off my character. And it very much provided like an opportunity for the party to kind of like come together. It was actually kind of interesting because the big bad, other than my character, we didn't have a huge attachment to him. So when I got killed, that kind of like rallied the party together and really like set them off. And then my next character that came in, which is my 4th in 1 campaign, absolutely loved her, had a great time. But that was the only time I've ever asked for a character to die, but those ones before then I was actually kind of happy to have go because I just didn't like playing them.
So, how many character deaths have you had total?
Oh god, I don't know. Are we counting one-shots?
Sure.
Then I really don't know. Probably, if we're counting one-shots, easily, maybe not easily, but about a dozen, I would say.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And do you think that even that first character that you played, had you played it even a couple more sessions, you probably would have been more attached to it and felt a little sadder with the death? Or do you think you were just kind of on that path of, I'm probably done with this one?
I would say that, like, I've always had a pretty relaxed attitude with it, like oh, the past is the past. I would be upset, like certain characters, I'd be upset if I lost, but I think it just still comes down to, like, the opportunity. Like, I just have a lot of ideas and things I want to try out. So, like, if something doesn't work out, then I try to look for the positive aspect of it. So, like, my main character I'm playing right now, I'd be very upset if she died. But, like I also said, I also have another character in mind. Like,
yeah. As long as you have a backup, even somewhat in mind, with the death of a character, you're like, all right, well, that sucked, but let me explore this. And then you bring in this new character.
Yeah, exactly.
What advice would you give a player who is terrified that their character is going to die?
Definitely, I would want to point out, like, my own kind of, like, approach to it of, like, looking for the opportunity. Like, look through the player handbook and look for, like, new things to try. But that can only get you so far, because if you really like your character, what I would say is talk to your DM about things that you're afraid will get left undone. So I think that's where a lot of it comes in, is that frequently we have these ideas for what we would want to accomplish with our characters, some kind of goal, some kind of, like, something that's motivating them that you don't want to just get left behind.
Right.
So, yeah, like, with what character I'm playing currently, she's being hunted by a group of people. I wouldn't want that storyline to just fizzle away. I'd want something to happen with that. So, like, I would want to talk to my DM and be like, hey, if something happens to me, like, I still want, like, assassins to show up looking for her. Like, I don't want that thing to just go away. Mm-hmm. So I think talking to your DM about things that you don't want left unsaid or undone, and maybe think about like ways in which you can make your death more meaningful. Obviously, that doesn't always happen, especially in like a big fight. But in my main group, we had a party member where she recently lost her character, and like they had an awesome, like epic, like final showdown between the two, and it was like she loved her character, but it was an awesome way to go. And I think that also helps a lot. You can't always do that, so I would say more talk to your DM about things you don't want left undone.
I like that unfinished business angle, almost like you're a ghost, and you're like, I can't go until this is finished. Yeah. That's really great. All right, well, this has been a great discussion. I have one more question for you before we wrap out here. I recently had my second character death in the same game.
Oh, yeah.
Guy walked into a room and there was a magic fountain. And he had just said earlier in the game, guys, we need to be more cautious. So what does he do?
Weird?
No, he drank from the magic fountain. He had a 25% chance of death.
Oh.
He rolled a 1. And then he had a chance of passing his con save, and he missed his con save by 1. And he instantly turned to dust. Yeah, it was rough.
Oh, very Indiana Jones style then. Okay.
I said, just like Walter Donovan in Last Crusade. Oh, you turned to dust. Amazing. So, what advice would you give a player who has recently had their character die, moving forward in their game?
I'm going to sound like a broken record. Look for new opportunities. Find things to get excited for. Definitely try to make someone different. Mm-hmm. Don't try to recreate what you've already done. If your character was a badass frontline fighter, then make some clever magical like glass cannon that's going to try to stay out of things. Like do something that's going to feel different enough that you're not just like mourning the loss of your previous character. I've definitely heard people like make jokes about like, and then I use the exact same character sheet and just write Junior next to it. Like,
I'm here to avenge my father.
Here to avenge my father. Exactly. My name is Inigo Montoya. And I just don't think you're going to enjoy that. And you're just going to constantly be like mourning the loss of your character. And you're going to become even more reluctant if you die again.
Yeah. I can't kill the kid now.
Yeah.
Come on.
So find something different to do. And just get excited about that. You know a little more about the world. You know a little bit more about the DM's playstyle. Maybe there's something they dropped earlier that you can start to play in on. They mentioned some secret organizational cult or something, and you're like, oh, what if I'm like someone escaping that cult or something, and now I'm going to be a warlock? I've never done a magic caster. Like, find ways to match within the world, play something different, try new things.
I like that a lot because so often when you're starting a campaign, well, many start with a one-shot to see if the new players like it, if you like the DM style, if the DM likes DMing, and then you continue playing with that character, and who's to say if that even really works within the world that you're playing in. I have one of my groups started out as a one-shot to see if 2 new players liked D&D, and then we just kept playing different short adventures that I found online rather than playing out of a book. And we're now level 7 with that group, and I have at least 2 players in that group who are like, had I known our trajectory, I probably would have built a different character than this, but I like what's going on. I feel like a square peg in a round hole. Oh, get it. So yeah, I think that's great advice to look at what the DM has created, because you're exactly right. If there's some secret organization, you can be like, oh, I'm one of them. I'm here now. And I can help drive the story even better because I have information that the DM has given me of this organization, stuff like that.
Yeah,
very
absolutely.
Cool. All right. Well, Aliza, thank you so much. This has been great to get your perspective on what happens when you die in D&D.
Yeah.
And I just watched the most recent episode of Critical Role, and you know what? No spoilers, but sometimes people die. And that's the way the game works.
Yeah.
It's part of Dungeons & Dragons.
Yeah.
This episode will be coming out at some point over the summer. But if you have any evergreen plugs or if you'd like to share your social media, please do so.
Yeah, social media is at Ancient Aliza on Twitter, and I guess I have to make a Instagram now. Everyone keeps asking me to, so that'll be coming soon. Probably the same name. And I don't have any projects that'll be coming out when this releases. I'm going to be starting projects over the summer, so if anything happens, I will then let you know. But as of right now, I don't have anything to really plug. So.
Well, fantastic.
Yeah.
My name is Lincoln L. Hayes, Lincoln L. Hayes on all the socials. You can follow this show at Session Zero D&D Show on Instagram, and you can find all the information on these episodes, the first season, where you can listen to the podcast, and all of the fantastic guests that I've had thus far, including Miss Aliza Kapel. Thank you so much for being here. Always a delight to chat with you. And I look forward to having you on some of the one-shots we may be doing at some point down the road.
I look forward to it too.
All right. Thank you very much, and go play some D&D, everybody. Bye!